Welcome to Preston Educational Academy, here with another video. So let's begin. In this video, we are going to learn about what is income tax, what is the history of income tax in India, and what are the various forms of income tax. So let's begin. Now, introduction of income tax. Income tax is a tax that is charged on the annual income of an individual or a business earned in a financial year. Now, whatever income that an individual or a business is earning in a financial year, on that particular income amount, the tax is being charged. Now, an income that is imposed on individual or entities are the taxpayers. They are usually called as the taxpayers. The one who is paying the tax or the one on whom the tax is levied is called as tax. He or she or the business entity is called as a taxpayer. Now, in respect of the income or profits earned by them, commonly called as taxable income. Now, whatever income or profit that an individual earns or a business entity earns, that income is called as taxable income, and income tax is calculated on that amount of income. Now, here the taxation rates may vary by type or characteristics of the taxpayer and the type of the income. Now, income tax is divided into a lot of variations. It might be indirect tax, it might be direct tax. When it comes to direct taxes, it mostly charged on the income of an individual or on the income of a business entity. Now, here the businesses also might have its different characteristics. Now, that different businesses are charged with different percentages of tax. Now, when it comes to an individual, based on what income he has earned, there are few slabs which we'll be learning in the further videos. Based on those slabs, the income tax rate is being charged on them. Now, there are various types of taxes such as indirect tax, direct tax, indirect tax, and the corporate tax. Now, all these are the various types of taxes which we are going to learn in the further videos. Now, this is the basic introduction of income tax. Now, let's see what is the history of income tax and from where the income tax has been started and how it was started. History of income tax in India. In 1857, Government of India incurred heavy losses. During this period, a lot of losses were made in India, which gave a huge damage to the economical conditions of the country. Now, after this, the tax was introduced for the first time in 1860 by Sir James William. He was the first person to introduce these taxes so that the losses which were incurred in 1857 were covered with the help of that tax. So tax was introduced for the first time in 1860 by Sir James William in order to meet the losses sustained by the government in 1857. Thereafter, several amendments were made in it from time to time. The Income Tax Act was introduced in India on 24th July 1860. Now, this was the first time where the tax was clearly introduced and which was being implemented all over the country. And that is the basic structure today. For the today's Income Tax Act, the tax which was introduced in 1860 stands as the basic structure of income tax system. Now, later in 1961, the Income Tax Act was passed, which clearly specifies various provisions determining taxable income, determining the tax liability, procedure of assessment, appeals, penalties, and prosecutions. Now, these were clearly defined in 1961's act. These things were clearly given, how and when and in what way the tax should be liable, and what is the procedure for a tax assessment, what are its appeals, what are the penalties when a person doesn't pay the tax, and what prosecutions were to be made. These all things were clearly defined in 1961's act. Thus, so and when required, these amendments were changed from time to time. Now, let's see what are the various forms of income tax in India. Now, various forms of income tax in India would be duty, cess tax, surcharge tax, octroi, terminal tax, and the toll tax. We'll be learning about them in detail. Now, the first one is duty, the tax which is levied in order to manage industrial production, control export and import of the goods. Now, when these industries have have their export goods, or when they import goods from one country to another country, the tax which is levied on it is called as duty tax. Now, next comes the cess tax. This is a tax which is imposed for a particular purpose. Now, this particular purpose might be anything. When a tax is imposed for one particular reason, it is called as cess tax. For instance, the tax which is imposed for encouraging education. Now, whenever education is being encouraged, like the tax which is charged on education is called as education cess. Here another example would be the Swachh Bharat tax, which is levied on the finance for the Swachh Bharat mission. Now, that tax is called as Swachh Bharat tax as well. And there is another tax which is on the sugarcane productions for the farmer. That tax is levied particularly for the reason for sugarcane production, that is the farmers cess tax. Now, when a tax is for a particular state reason, that particular reason, when the tax is levied, it is called as cess tax. Now, next comes the surcharge. Surcharge is the additional tax which is usually charged on the basic income tax. Now, here we have income tax on a person's income, right? It is being charged on the person's income. Now, here, if his income is more than 50 lakhs to 1 crore, there is a 10% of surcharge which is charged on his basic income tax. Now, here the formula for this would be total income tax is equals to basic income tax plus surcharge. Now, this is the formula for that. If a person is having an income of more than 1 crore, then 15% of such surcharges being levied on the basic income tax. We'll be learning about it in detail in the further videos. Now, next comes the octroi. It is a tax which is imposed by gram panchayat or municipal corporation on the goods which are purchased from the other parts of the country for sale into their jurisdiction. Now, here, when from one country the goods are being purchased and taken to the other country, when they are taking to the other country, this country takes an tax for them, for those goods to enter into the state and sell, to have a sale over there. Now, the goods are being purchased from the other country or the other parts of the country for the sale into their jurisdiction. At this time, this tax is being levied. It is also called as the entry level tax. Entry level tax, because we are purchasing those goods from an other part of the country and bringing it in our own area to sell them, or to have flow of that good in our state. Now, that tax which is being implied there is called as octroi tax. Now, let's see the next one. The next one would be terminal tax. It is a tax which is imposed by the local authorities or municipalities on the goods that are supplied from their border for sale into the other parts of the country. Now, octroi tax was on purchase. When we purchase goods from the other parts of the country and bring it into our jurisdiction, octroi tax is levied. But when it comes to terminal tax, when we are supplying goods to the other part of the countries for the requirement of sale into the other parts of the country, there is a tax called as terminal tax. So, we have tax when we purchase the goods, that is the octroi tax, and there is a tax when we give a sale of the goods, that is the terminal tax. Now, next comes the toll tax. It is a tax imposed on vehicular travelers. Toll tax is paid by the people who are traveling in car, jeep, lorries, etc., for using bridge or road in order to reach their destination. Now we all might travel to various places, and you might have seen such toll gates placed from one state border to the other state border, or it might be on the highways. We find these types of toll gates, right? That is the tax which is implied by the government for the usage of that road by cars, jeeps, lorries, etc. They have to pay toll tax and enter to the other state. Now that is the toll tax. These are the few various forms of the tax, and we'll be studying about them in detail in the next videos. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like, share and subscribe Prastin Educational Academy.